All right, thank you for having us today. It's a pleasure to be with you. Big thanks to Informs and the members of Informs UPS George D. Smith Prize Committee for recognizing our department and programs by including us amongst the finalists for this year's prize. There will be 4 of us speaking during the presentation. Myself, along with my colleagues, Professor De Lu, Ellen Trader, and Carlson School Associate Dean Alok Gupta, who is also a faculty member in our department. I will start us off. My name is Gadas Adomavičius. I have been a faculty member at the Carlson School for nearly 20 years, and I'm currently serving as the chair of the Information and Decision Sciences Department. Our department's history dates back to 1968, when Professors Gordon Davis, Gary Dixon, and Tom Hoffman founded both the Management Information Systems academic program and the MIS Research Center that year. They described their motivation at the time as wanting to address emerging opportunities at the intersection of computing and business operations. They were very interested in studying business and organizational use of computers, information technology, information systems, and data-driven decision-making. So they went to the source, the business community. Their outreach initiatives evolved into an enduring industry academic collaboration, one that is evident in the department's activities still today. That early start is one of the reasons Minnesota is considered to be one of the pioneers of the MIS discipline. Decades of teaching, research, and collaborations with industry followed, and today the department is highly ranked, both for its research output in scholarly journals and for its degree programs. Speaking of degree programs, the department is the academic home for several information systems related programs. For example, providing the MIS major and minor to our undergraduate students, information systems specialization to MBA students, and information and decision sciences concentration to doctoral students. However, arguably the most exciting area of growth and innovation for us in recent years has been in our business analytics programs. Our cornerstone program is a 1-year full-time graduate program, the MS in Business Analytics. We launched it in 2014, and enrollments nearly doubled the second year and doubled again in the third, and continued to climb further over the years. Obviously, this past year did bring a lot of pandemic-related challenges, but we are successfully educating another cohort this year using a combination of online and hybrid delivery modes. The success of our full-time MSBA program has spilled over into a number of additional analytics-oriented academic initiatives. On one end of the spectrum, it led us to introduce an undergraduate minor in business analytics a few years ago, which by now is the most popular minor at the school. Nearly half of our undergraduate students choose to take it. On the other end of the spectrum, we have introduced comprehensive business analytics courses in the school's executive education program, both in the open enrollment format as well as custom designed courses to address specific company needs. And most recently, we launched a newly revamped part-time program, Master of Applied Business Analytics, tailored to the needs of working professionals. So instead of repeating the various facts and figures about the department and its programs, which you can see in our application materials, we thought we'd take a step back in order to look at the bigger picture. Now, our department is engaged in many scholarship, research, teaching, and other activities. So the question becomes, what's the impact of all that activity? To answer that question, we have to look beyond ourselves and consider our work in the real world. So, as you may know, the University of Minnesota's Twin Cities campus is in the heart of Minneapolis, straddling the banks of the Mississippi River. The Carlson School resides on the west bank of the river, right about where you see the logo. And we are just on the edge of downtown Minneapolis, which has helped the school develop relationships with industry partners, including numerous Fortune 500 companies that have strong presence here. Our goal for our teaching, research, and collaborations with industry is to have a positive impact on people, both individuals and collectively. We believe that it does, and we are told that our work matters, which is really satisfying to hear. So today we have brought with us a collection of voices to speak about the Carlson School impact for our students, our business partners, and the communities to which we belong. As we listen to our various constituents over the years, the common themes that emerge are bright futures for our students, insights and impact for our partners, and positive change for the community. And now I will invite my colleague, Professor De Lu, to take over from here.
Thank you, Geddes, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm a professor in the department, and also the academic director of our master's programs in business analytics. It is my great pleasure to present to you how we prepare our students for a bright future in the field of analytics. Over the last 6 years, we have graduated 528 MSBA students. They came to our program with the goal of leveling up their analytics skills or pivoting from a different field to the field of analytics. It has been a great honor to help them with this transformation and help them launch their career in the field of analytics. Here, I'd like to first share a short video in which a few of our students reflect on how their Carlson education has helped their career.
I describe the value of my analytics education as equipping me with the right tools to be able to, go out and do actual work with it, being able to get a job doing what I love to do and applying very directly the things I learned.
I came to the program in order to skill up technically and be able to get into a role that I wanted, a data scientist position, and definitely feel like I went through the technical courses and got the chops to do that.
So what I love working about Microsoft is a ton of things. It's always been one of my dream companies to work for, actually my dream company to work for. So it's amazing to be able to actually be there now and work with people who are so much smarter than I am, which is always a bonus because that means you always continuously have to learn.
One great thing about working for Facebook and particularly for WhatsApp is you have a bit of autonomy in the work that you do. So instead of me focusing most of my energy of how do I do best the next tactical work that comes on my way, I'm able to take a step back and think, what is my interest and focus areas, and how do I balance this with what's important and urgent to the company.
What's really nice about working at Amazon is how big it is and how many resources we have. And so you definitely have a lot of work to do and you have different teams to work with, but you also still get that small startup feeling because you're working on a smaller project on a smaller team.
If I ever go to San Francisco or Chicago or DC or wherever, I'll know someone there is working at a company. And two, if I ever want to apply at Google or Facebook or Amazon or Microsoft, I'll have a friend there who can help me get in the door, which is fantastic.
Like Jeff and others in the video, our MSB students came to Carlson School with plenty of curiosity and passion. Within a year of time, they would transform themselves from novices into analytics professionals who would go on to different companies and solve real-world problems using the knowledge they've learned from the program. Our graduate students have gone on to work in different industries, such as finance, technology, consulting, retail, and you name it. We're glad to see many of them went to their dream companies, such as Target, Capital One, and Microsoft. Our program has been blessed with strong placement numbers since the beginning. Even in the last year, when our largest cohort of 119 MSBA students were hit with the pandemic, we still achieved a placement rate of 94% within 6 months of graduation. So what led to these placement numbers? A robust demand for business analytics professionals is certainly a key factor in our placement numbers. But on top of that, we also heard from our alums and recruiters that our students stand out in the job market because of their training and preparation. Take Capital One, for example. They have hired 48 students from our program in the last few years, including 15 in the last year during the pandemic. One Capital One recruiter shared this quote with us. We hire Carlson students because they come well prepared to handle today's data-driven business requirements. Carlson students have the ability to innovate using open source scripting languages, create meaningful visualizations and models, and are able to effectively communicate during the interviews. And another recruiter from Capital One is quoted as saying that we have noticed that Carlson students have a higher level of success in our recruiting process because they are well prepared throughout their time at the school and have a drive to be high performers in the workplace. And Capital One is not alone in noticing the strengths of our students. Our alums at Amazon also told us that our students have high success rate in the interviews with Amazon. So how we help these students prepare for the ever-changing domain of business analytics. So next, let me give you a quick overview of our curriculum design. Our curriculum design is guided by a comprehensive and innovative framework called the House of Analytics. Several of you may have seen that us presenting the same framework before, so I'll be brief and highlight a few key elements. Our framework views the field of analytics as consisting of 4 styles of analytics, which we call the 4 pillars, including descriptive analytics, predictive analytics, causal, and prescriptive analytics. Each of the pillars asks different type of questions. For example, descriptive analytics asks the question of what happened. You can use tools such as visualization, exploratory data analysis, and clustering to answer such questions. Predictive analytics asks the questions of what happened next. So there you can apply various predictive models for insights. Causal analytics address the question of, did X truly cause Y? You can use tools such as A/B testing and causal inference econometrics for answering such questions. Finally, prescriptive analytics answer the question of how best we should respond. Tools such as simulation and optimization are used to solve this kind of decision support. Our program has at least one course for each of the pillars. For predictive analytics, because of its importance, we have several courses, including a predictive modeling course that cover a wide range of models from decision trees to deep neural networks. We also have a time series forecasting course and an elective course focused on reinforcement learning. Many other programs may not have the causal analytics course, but our experience told us that causal analytics is a very important tool for data-driven organizations such as Target and Uber. They use A/B testing and causal inference techniques to support the decisions on a daily basis. Our framework also recognizes that these 4 pillars must rest on a common foundation of data engineering. As many of you know, that analytics professionals spend over 60% of their time on data engineering. In addition, these technical skills must be complemented by a host of professional skills, such as business acumen, communication, project management, data ethics, and teamwork. Our curriculum has a course for each of these topics. For example, our program has a data ethics course that covers topics such as algorithm bias and issues of fairness, transparency, and ethics in various stages of machine learning pipelines. Students there not only learn the concept, but also they get to hands-on to see how the biases are introduced in their machine learning models. For the data engineering components, we have several courses also. For example, we have a Python programming course and our course based on our course for introduction to machine learning, and also advanced SQL course, as well as a big data and cloud computing course. So with all these components, what does the student year look like in our program? We adopt a cohort-based design with 45 credits spread between 3 semesters, summer, fall, and spring. Most courses are required. And thanks to the cohort-based design, we are able to coordinate between different courses in a lockstep fashion to maximize the learning efficiency. So overall, in the first semester, students will focus on building their technical and business foundations with courses such as Business Essentials, Stats, a Python course, a SQL course, and our course. In the second semester, cover the core pillars of analytics, including exploratory and predictive analytics courses, a big data course, a causal inference course, as well as 2 professional skill courses, managing teams and data ethics. The last semester cover a few advanced topics and an elective, but the focal point is a 6-credit experiential learning course delivered in tandem with a project management course. As dense as this curriculum map looks like, it only tells half of the story about curriculum initiatives, because we know a lot of learning occurs when students use the skills they learn in real-life projects. So next, I want to highlight how we incorporate a strong experiential learning component throughout the program, and we build our professional skill trainings around these projects. Like many other analytics programs, we have a semester-long experiential learning project at the end. To ensure students derive maximum value from these projects, and same time ensure the clients have satisfying experience from these projects, we deploy a strong team to support these student teams. First of all, we have staff from the Carlson Analytics Lab who help screening, sourcing, and kind of overseeing the projects within many different companies. And then we also have a communication director who works along with student teams to help them refine their presentation and communication skills. We also have a teamwork instructor who provides advising and coaching just in time when they're doing the projects. Finally, we have a team of faculty advisors who meet students on a weekly basis to provide them guidance and ensure the rigor of their solutions. But we understand that even with such a strong support, students may not learn the art and science of real-life analytics projects in one go. So we added 2 other experiential learning components in the preceding semesters in the form of live cases. In those live cases, they also work with a real company and on a real-world problem, except the live cases only last 4 weeks, and all student teams work on the same project. And we also support these live case projects with similar professional skill development opportunities, such as communication, teamwork, and project management. So by the time they reach the final experiential learning project, they should be no stranger to ambiguous problems, messy data, or the back and forth interaction with the client. In addition to live cases and ELP, experiential learning projects, we also have 2 data engineering-oriented trend marketplace projects in the first 2 semesters, where student teams showcase the new data engineering or big data technologies or use cases to a team of external judges in a trade show style in the atrium of our building. For example, one of my favorite trend marketplace project, a student team demoed a prototype smart inventory system that use real-time stream of store cameras and image recognition techniques to detect changes at inventory levels and inform managers in real time using dashboards and text message alerts. In sum, by the end of the program, students would have 3 real-life data analytics projects and 2 trend workplace projects that they can put on their resumes and talk about in their job interviews. These experiential learning projects play an important role, letting them preview the challenge of real-life projects and get them ready for their careers. So let me conclude this segment by showing a video of students talking about their experiences in those experiential learning projects.
In the real world in analytics, no one says go build a neural net or go, make this exact predictive model or use this technique to figure this out. They pretty much give you a business problem typically and say, we have X, how do we fix it? And an experiential learning program is the same thing. It's not a classroom setting where they say, learn this technique exactly and apply it in this way. You're saying, of all the techniques you have, which one should you use and how do you use that to get a desirable result?
We first had to sit down with our teams. We had to define our problems. We had to understand how do we work as a team to tackle them.
You learned whatever for the last 6 months into working a real world business problems where you were actually starting from the ground up, where you're defining the problems from abstract to real world, and then you are going out and implementing the solution.
My team was essentially absorbed into the company that we were working with and treated just as like we were employees and working towards finding that solution for them too that gave them the outcome they were looking for.
We often had to use these variety of different tools and techniques similar to how I do in my job now, where you have a vague question and you have to answer that and figure out what that is and how to answer that.
What's messy data? How do you deal with that? What is actually relevant? What's cost efficient?
So this way you kind of get a taste of what to expect after the master's, even when you're doing the course. So that was an amazing experience to be part of.
Next, I'd like to introduce Alan Treater, our Managing Director of Carlson Analytics Lab, to talk about how we build strong academic industry partnerships and use our analytics capabilities to bring positive impact in our communities. Alan, floor is yours.
Thank you, Dave. As you heard from the alumni in that last video, they had the opportunity to gain real professional experience while still in school. That's because we built the Carlson Analytics Lab to operate like a professional consulting firm, offering clients from across industries a way to get high quality analytics work done by tapping into the talent of our students. It's win-win, a great experience for both students and the companies. This is only possible because our network of industry partners continues to support the lab and our students year after year. So we've asked a few of these partners to share their thoughts about working with Carlson students. Sleep Number is one of these partners. Our relationship has been ongoing with this company over the past 3 years. They've invited our students to work on a few different projects related to marketing and promotions. Here's Susan DeFranco speaking about the partnership.
The students every year were just incredibly impressed with the level of talent that this program has and the level of expertise that these students come in with. And one of the things I was always impressed with in every case of working with the lab is the students, not just, it wasn't just about completing an analysis and giving us a report, but in every case, they left us with tools, whether it be a dashboard or some software programs, a text analytics capability. They always left us with some sort of tool that we still continue to use on an ongoing basis. So it's not just about delivering those insights on a one-time, at the end of their project, but they have always left us with tools that were very actionable that we've continued to use even after the project was over. The work that the students did for us almost a year ago now allowed us to introduce some key customer metrics that we previously weren't looking at, but their work highlighted the importance of these specific metrics, and we've continued to use those as a key measurement for our business. I have talked to my colleagues about this program that I would highly recommend working with Carlson Analytics Lab. It's clear that the program does a great job of training them in both analytic capabilities, but also in terms of how to work with business partners and how to be impactful to a business. That is so important for people. I mean, you can be the best analyst in the world, but if you don't know how to help that business use your expertise, it's not that valuable. And so it's really clear from everything that the students come in with, that the program really helps to inform them and show them how to make sure that their work is being applied in a business setting, which is incredibly valuable.
You just heard Susan describe a Carlson Analytics Lab engagement. I'll take a moment here to tell you a little bit more about how these engagements work. Projects in the lab are very real. Clients pay $30,000 per project and expect high quality work as a result. This revenue funds lab operations and makes it possible for us to provide the students a very robust experience with significant coaching and support. It's much more than a class project. It's real, resume-worthy work experience. To date, the Carlson Analytics Lab has completed more than 90 projects for more than 60 clients and generated significant revenue that goes directly into improving the experience for the students. Our work has included diverse project needs from a variety of industries. Lab clients include Land O'Lakes, Mall of America, Sun Country Airlines, the governments of Hennepin County and the city of St. Paul, as well as many others we can't name. To date, we've worked with clients in food and agriculture, retail, CPG, financial services, consulting, manufacturing, entertainment, healthcare and medical, travel, and more. Land O'Lakes is another ongoing partnership. They've sponsored 7 projects with our students and hired our graduates. Here's the company CTO, Teddy Beckley, talking a bit more about one of these projects.
Land O'Lakes is an agricultural company, it's an animal nutrition company, and it's also consumer products goods. In each of those different industries, let's call it that, data is becoming very important, and then the insights you derive from the data.
Purina had an internal hypothesis that their marketing statement wasn't balanced with their customer reviews. And that's when they approached us. They wanted a way to quantify it, and it was our job to find a way to do that.
They wanted to understand the voice of the customer. They wanted to understand what the customer talk about the product.
We found that their marketing benefits were not necessarily aligned with their customer reviews.
That whole approach was explained to the marketing team, and they've latched onto that, and now as they create content, they're changing the language that they're using to be able to better resonate with the user reviews that we're seeing and better align with the sentiment of what customers are looking for.
Working with a real company and getting to work on real data, that was a really interesting experience for me. And acting as student consultants, that was fun, and it was something I'd never done in school before.
This particular ELP program had given me a great opportunity to explore new techniques and new ideas in the real world problem.
We've always had great success with the projects that the students have engaged in, and we always get great insights out of it. It's one thing to read about it in some blog or in some article or even hear about it at a conference. It's another when you actually see it in action with somebody using it. And in a lot of cases, actually the students will end up working for our organization in the future. So that's also a great benefit of doing these initiatives.
Finally, we've been very pleased to develop a long-term relationship with Hennepin County, the state's most populated county and home to Minneapolis and much of the surrounding metro. Our work with Hennepin County has been unique in a couple of ways. First, not only is the partnership between the university and government, but several other organizations have been involved. For example, the McKnight Foundation funded several projects on housing stability and justice in the county. Other partners have included social service agencies and nonprofits working in the area of housing. Second, all the projects have been focused on positive social impact of one kind or another, whether that's helping to keep vulnerable people in stable housing or to better target hunger relief efforts to those in need. Here's Eric Erickson, Hennepin County CDO, speaking about our work together.
Certainly the reputation of the Analytics Lab was a drawing factor. I mean, we've been fortunate at the county to work with the Analytics Lab on a few different projects over time, and we've had good experiences. So that makes it easy to want to come back, and you're going to get a group of highly motivated students who are really good at what they do, but equally important, a set of faculty that are going to oversee that work and help guide that along and help get to a really good end product. There was an effort to try to predict which families might be most likely to be evicted and see if we could do anything about it. And I thought that was, it was a really interesting project, and I thought they did a really nice job overall on what they had with trying to integrate a bunch of complex data to build the model. And that project itself, I would say, is directly responsible for the creation of our public evictions dashboard, which has gained national recognition and is used by all sorts of partners. And a lot of that came out of that Carlson project. Behind the scenes, the bigger part of the project was actually saying, like, well, how do we integrate all of these different data points that we have, some that are about communities, some that are about census tracts, or some that are at the neighborhood or city level, some that are at the census tract level, some that are about individuals, some that are about households, right? And pull all these together in a meaningful way and be able to stitch them together in a way that we can make sense of. And they helped us actually pilot a graph database approach that we're actually still building on today. So we've used that initial model, and now we're adding additional layers of information on and still finding more insights. So they really helped, I would say, us kind of leapfrog a couple of generations of technology. So as we're able to continue to stitch all these data sources together and better understand how this system functions as a whole, the promise of it is that'll enable us to provide new ways of delivering county services that would yield better outcomes at a lower cost. We don't know of a county that's done this perfectly. And we don't know it, that it's not a guarantee, but there seems to be enough evidence out there that says, these things are connected to social determinants of health. There's a lot of other frameworks that talk about, like food insecurity as it relates to educational outcomes, all of those kind of things. They're all interconnected in one way or another. So if we can build a data system that helps us understand that, that can help us rethink how we deliver government services from the ground up. I don't want to overstate it, but at the same time, I think this potential is there to kind of revolutionize the way local government is done. So that's what drives me in that work, and that's why I'm so excited about the work that Carlson did, because it kind of kickstarted that.
The social impact of the Hennepin work is an example of something we're actively pursuing. As you may know, the Twin Cities and Greater Minnesota are routinely ranked very highly on various measures related to education, employment, and quality of life. At the same time, our state has some of the worst disparities in terms of income, inequality, and achievement gaps. The pandemic has only exacerbated many of these issues. The Carlson School is striving to make positive change for the social good, and our analytics programs are a part of that. Through this partnership with Hennepin County, we believe we've found an innovative model that helps both our students and our communities. More and more, our students tell us that they want to work on projects that focus on social good, and that they find the experience to be very rewarding. At the same time, the county and the community benefit from the skills and expertise of our students and faculty in real and tangible ways. Our most recent project with Hennepin County included a third player, the hunger relief nonprofit Second Harvest Heartland. In this project, our students applied their analytic skills to issues of food insecurity and hunger in the Twin Cities. Here's a little bit about that from Teresa at Second Harvest.
We wanted to understand who was not being served. When we think about outreach and enrollment and participation data, it's often data about who already was served. And really, the project with these students, with the Analytics Lab and with Hennepin County, we were trying to understand where are the gaps that we weren't seeing in that participation data, because that to us really informed where we can develop new outreach strategies to really increase that enrollment in SNAP and that participation in SNAP. And through the project, students identified some very important ahas for our organization and for our partnership with Hennepin County, where we could be more proactive to reaching out to seniors, families in suburban communities who might not have access to the same hunger relief network or resources, and certainly communities like New Americans. Hennepin County is really unique in that it's a large county. And so having a strategy is not one size fits all. And so really grounded us in like zip code level data to say we can be more responsive within the county if we can really understand where those gaps exist and respond to the unique needs of those communities. That type of capacity add to have so many students and good thinking behind some of the biggest and hairiest questions that we're seeing in our work. That was, I think, uniquely powerful. That's why we've pursued other projects. It is a unique opportunity to really get some good and focused creative thinking and expertise, empower us to do our work to end hunger.
Another project we're very proud of is work our students did last year for the Hazelden Betty Ford Foundation. In this project, students helped the organization use data to assess the effectiveness of addiction treatment programs. Here's what Deb Bauman had to say about working with the students.
Students helped us achieve an unexpected outcome, which was pleasantly surprising and very intriguing. The students came up with some interesting outcomes that nobody on the Hazelden and Betty Ford team had ever identified with before, and were worthy enough that that information now is being pulled into a paper that's being co-authored with the university, a research paper to be submitted. That was an eye-opener for our chief medical officer and our head of research in terms of some of the information that the students uncovered that we had never really thought about in terms of predictors in whether or not people have a positive outcome and stay in recovery or go into relapse. The experience with the students was very important to our entire organization, because with their help, we realized that in order to get the value out of the data that we want, that we need to look at our data and how we're collecting our data and what point in a patient's experience we're collecting that data in order to get the information that we're seeking. We're smarter now and we know a lot more about our data than we ever did before. The research that was uncovered by the students will be used in the treatment of patients moving forward. If you look at some of the information that they uncovered, it had to do with gender, it had to do with the number of substances, the length of substances, the type of substances used. All of that now they can take and they can use to further tailor treatment down to an individual level.
As you heard Deb mention, this project had an additional unanticipated positive outcome. The Hazelden team was so impressed by the power and potential of the work, they're now co-authoring a paper with one of our faculty members, Soumya Sen, on the use of data to better assess treatment outcomes for patients. Projects like these are what inspired us to create the Analytics for Good Institute. Founded in 2019, the vision of the Institute is to use data as a force for good. Through the Institute, we're looking to find and develop more ways to use data for positive social impact. We've launched several initiatives built on our expertise in research and consulting, education, and community collaboration. More specifically, we are delivering additional student projects and faculty industry collaborations, outreach initiatives such as Analytics U, a summer day camp for high school sophomores targeting populations underrepresented in the field of analytics, and Analytics Accelerator, which is designed to equip nonprofits and minority-owned businesses with data analytics, capacity building tools and strategies. Part of what's helping us get this work up and running are the relationships we have with industry. For example, last year, the Institute received its first major grant from the Target Foundation. We are currently using the Target grant to focus on reducing property forfeiture due to non-payment of property tax, an issue that hits the BIPOC community especially hard. Through the Institute, we plan to continue such efforts to use analytics to drive positive change in our community. To conclude our presentation, I'd like to introduce Alok Gupta, Professor of Information and Decision Sciences and Associate Dean for Faculty and Research.
Thank you, Ellen. As mentioned by Gareth at the beginning of the presentation, Department of Information and Decision Sciences has always been a leader in analytics education in business schools for more than 50 years. However, since we launched the MSBA program 7 years ago, it has become also a strategic focus of the Carlson School of Management. Each year, hundreds of students are working through a comprehensive analytics curriculum across our undergraduate, graduate, and executive education programs. This has significantly contributed to new major school-wide analytics-related initiatives, such as development of a new STEM MBA degree, the adoption of HyPlex model for our part-time analytics program to expand its reach and to provide access to the program to a broader business community, and even an extensive revision of our undergraduate core curriculum that establishes data analytics as one of its key pillars. On the industry partnership front, as Ellen mentioned, Carlson Analytics Lab is continuously expanding the roster of industry partners and transforming existing relationships that we already had into deep multi-year, multi-project partnerships. These partnerships, in turn, generate numerous opportunities for our students, including experiential learning, research ideas, mentorship, and of course, job prospects. Also, the amazing work that Analytics for Good Institute has already done by partnering with foundations, nonprofits, government agencies, and community organizations to address societal problems using analytics makes an exemplary contribution to Carlson School's strategic commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. In summary, the department has been successful in preparing students for bright futures in the field of analytics, delivering insights and impact to our industry partners, and driving positive change in our communities. It is our belief that rigorous curriculum that combines deep experiential learning with industry partnerships and meaningful community engagement is the future of business education. It is transformative for faculty and students, partner companies, communities, and we believe it continuously transforms education itself. In closing, I would like to thank my colleagues in the department for all the great effort it took to develop these programs and initiatives, and all the co-presenters for telling our story. And finally, I'd like to thank Informs and Informs UPS George D. Smith Prize Committee for your consideration. Thank you very much.